This isn't one I want.
It's not what I want either, Robyn. It's not what I want.
It's not what I wanted either.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. You think you know everything about Kody Brown and his so-called favorite wife, Robyn? Think again. There's a side to their story that's never made it into the family's carefully crafted narrative. And tonight, we're pulling back the curtain. Imagine hearing the private words Kody has said about Robyn, words that would shock even the most loyal Sister Wives fans. Not the sweet nothings or the public declarations of love, but the raw, unfiltered comments that reveal what's really been simmering beneath the surface. These aren't just rumors. These are the moments that have left the other wives reeling, the kids questioning, and viewers everywhere wondering how much of this family's story has been hidden in plain sight. Welcome, friends. I'm Helena, and this is TLC's Sister Wives News. If you're as obsessed with the truth behind the Brown family as I am, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know, have you ever sensed something off about Kody and Robyn's relationship? Or maybe you've picked up on the tension that never quite goes away, no matter how many family meetings or public apologies we see on screen. Tonight, we're not just rehashing old drama. We're digging into the real events, the actual words, and the emotional fallout that's been building for years. From the very first moment Robyn entered the family, to the pandemic that cracked everything wide open, to the private comments that changed everything. This is a story you haven't heard, told through the eyes of those who lived it. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will change the way you see Sister Wives forever. Robyn's arrival wasn't just another chapter in the Brown family story. It was the turning point. When Kody first introduced Robyn, the energy in the room changed. You could see it in the way he looked at her, the way he talked about her, even the way he seemed to light up just being near her. For years, Mary, Janelle, and Christine had learned to share Kody's time and affection, but Robyn's presence brought a new kind of tension. Suddenly, the balance that held the family together started to tilt, and it was obvious to anyone paying attention. I remember watching those early episodes feeling the awkwardness as Kody would gush over Robyn's every move. He'd drive hours just to see her, bring her gifts, and talk about her with a kind of excitement that felt different from how he spoke about his other wives. There's that infamous scene when Kody admits he's Twitter-pated with Robyn, and you can almost see Christine's heart sink right there on camera. Mary tried to play the supportive first wife, but you could sense her loneliness growing. Janelle, always the practical one, started to pull back, focusing more on her kids and her own space. The early signs of favoritism weren't subtle. Kody would spend extra nights at Robyn's house, sometimes breaking the rotation that had kept things fair for years. He'd defend her in family arguments, even when the other wives felt hurt or left out. Remember the wedding dress shopping? Kody was all in, beaming with pride while the other wives watched from the sidelines. It was like the rules had changed overnight and nobody else got the memo. Christine's struggle was especially hard to watch. She's always been the one to keep the family spirit alive, organizing holidays, making sure the kids felt loved, and holding everyone together. But as Kody's attention shifted, Christine's confidence started to crack. There's a moment when she confides in the camera, admitting she feels like a basement wife. Always there, always supportive, but never the one in the spotlight. That hit me hard, and I know a lot of you felt it too. I want to hear from you. Did you notice the shift when Robyn joined the family? Did you see the way Kody's priorities changed, or the way the other wives started to fade into the background? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is where the story really starts to get complicated. The rise of Robyn didn't just change Kody's heart, it changed the entire family, and the fallout was only just beginning. Kody's way of handling his family has always been complicated, but once Robyn became part of the picture, his patterns of control and emotional distancing became impossible to ignore. Watching the show, you start to see how he uses subtle tactics to keep everyone just a little off balance. He'll praise one wife in front of the others, then turn around and criticize someone else behind closed doors. It's classic triangulation, pitting people against each other so they're too busy competing for his attention to notice what's really going on. Christine felt this more than anyone. There's that unforgettable moment when she opens up about feeling like she's always last on Kody's list, no matter how hard she tries. She's the one making the family work, but Kody's affection is always just out of reach. He withholds compliments, rarely shows real appreciation, and when Christine finally asks for more, he acts like she's being unreasonable. It's heartbreaking to watch her try to hold on to her self-worth while Kody keeps moving the goalposts. Janelle, on the other hand, learned to keep her distance. She's always been independent, but you can see how Kody's emotional absence pushed her even further into her own world. There's a scene where she admits she's used to doing things alone, raising her kids, managing the house, and not expecting much from Kody. It's not that she doesn't care, it's that she's learned to not rely on him for support he's never going to give. Mary's story is its own kind of tragedy. She was the first wife, the one who helped build the family from the ground up. But after Robyn arrived, Mary's connection to Kody faded fast. Instead of real intimacy, Kody offered her a friendship with Robyn, one that always felt like more of a performance than a genuine bond. Remember those scenes when Mary and Robyn are supposed to be best friends, shopping together, laughing for the cameras? Behind the smiles, you could sense the tension. Mary wanted to belong, but the friendship felt orchestrated, like something Kody needed for his own peace of mind, not for theirs. And also because he wanted to keep peace with his wives. Because as long as Mary and Robyn were good, he thought things would be okay. This kind of makes Mary's role in these relationships super awkward. I get emotional watching these moments because it's not just reality TV drama. It's real people struggling to find love and acceptance in a situation that keeps moving the finish line. Kody's control isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's the silent treatment, the way he pulls away when someone challenges him, or the way he rewards loyalty with just enough attention to keep hope alive. If you've ever felt like you were competing for someone's affection, or like you had to earn basic kindness, you know how exhausting that can be. I want to know, have you ever seen yourself in Christine, Janelle, or Mary? Have you ever felt like you were on the outside looking in, waiting for someone to finally see you? Share your stories in the comments because this is the part of Sister Wives that hits closest to home for so many of us. When the pandemic hit, everything the Browns had been trying to hide or smooth over came crashing to the surface. Suddenly, the cracks in the family weren't just private struggles. They were out in the open for everyone to see. Kody's rules became stricter, his expectations more rigid, and the pressure on the wives to fall in line reached a breaking point. He wanted everyone to follow his protocols, no questions asked. But the reality was that each wife had her own priorities, her own needs, and her own sense of what was right for her family. Christine's journey during this time was especially raw. Her daughter Isabel needed major back surgery, and the plan was for Christine to take her to New Jersey for the procedure. Kody's response? He refused to go, citing his COVID rules and the risk of exposure. Watching Christine try to explain to her daughter why her father wouldn't be there was gut-wrenching. You could see the pain in Isabel's eyes, the disappointment that her dad chose rules over her. Christine was left to handle it all on her own. And in that moment, something shifted. She realized she'd been doing it alone for years, and she didn't want to keep pretending everything was fine. Janelle faced her own crossroads. Kody wanted her to choose between following his strict guidelines or seeing her kids who were coming and going from college and work. Janelle didn't hesitate. Her children came first. She told Kody she wouldn't kick her sons out just to make him comfortable. That decision spoke volumes. Janelle had always valued her independence, but now she was drawing a line in the sand. She wasn't going to sacrifice her relationship with her kids for a husband who was barely present. The pandemic forced everyone to pick sides, and for the first time, the wives started choosing themselves. Kody's authority, which had always been shaky, began to crumble. He tried to enforce his will, but the more he pushed, the more the women pulled away. The family meetings turned tense, with Kody insisting on compliance and the wives quietly resisting. The old system of rotating nights and shared holidays fell apart, replaced by a new reality where each wife was responsible for her own happiness. The emotional toll was heavy. You could see the exhaustion on Christine's face, the frustration in Janelle's voice, the sadness in the kids. But there was also a sense of relief, a quiet strength growing in the women as they realized they didn't have to keep sacrificing for someone who wasn't willing to meet them halfway. The power in the family was shifting, and for the first time, it wasn't Kody calling the shots. It was the wives choosing peace over chaos and finally putting themselves and their children first. Money has always been a sore spot for the Browns, but as the seasons rolled on, the tension over finances became impossible to ignore. The family's dream of building on Coyote Pass was supposed to bring everyone together, but instead it exposed just how divided they really were. Every time the topic of money came up, you could feel the anxiety in the room. Kody would talk about big plans, new houses, land, investments, but the reality was that the family was stretched thin, and not everyone was on the same page about how the money should be spent. Robyn's spending habits became a lightning rod for criticism, both inside the family and among fans. There were scenes where she'd talk about needing a nanny or wanting to buy more furniture, or even hinting at her love for shopping. The infamous $60,000 bill for her doll collection became a running joke online. But for the other wives, it was no laughing matter. While Robyn and Kody were shopping for new homes and filling them with expensive things, Mary, Janelle, and Christine were left to figure out how to make ends meet. Janelle in particular was open about her financial worries, admitting on camera that she sometimes felt like she was starting over from scratch. Kody's business ventures didn't help matters. He'd talk about his business graveyard, a string of failed ideas that never seemed to go anywhere. Meanwhile, the wives were hustling. Mary with her bed and breakfast, Janelle with her health coaching, Christine with her own projects, trying to build some security for themselves and their kids. The financial strain was real, and it only got worse as the family started to split apart. When Christine left, she made it clear she was taking control of her own finances, refusing to let Kody or Robyn dictate her future. Social media only added fuel to the fire. Fans would spot Robyn and Kody out shopping or see photos of their new house, and the comments would explode with questions about where the money was coming from. Meanwhile, Janelle is posting about budgeting and saving, and Christine was sharing her excitement about new opportunities. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. There was always a performative side to the Browns' wealth. Kody loved to show off his cars, his new hair, his big plans. Robyn wanted the image of a perfect home filled with beautiful things. But behind the scenes, the reality was much messier. The other wives were tired of pretending, tired of watching their hard work disappear while someone else spent freely. The financial drama wasn't just about money. It was about respect, control, and who really had a say in the family's future. The unraveling of the Brown family wasn't a single explosive moment. It was a slow, painful process that played out in front of millions. Christine's decision to leave was the spark that made everything real. For years, she tried to make it work, swallowing her hurt and hoping things would get better. But after Kody refused to support her during Isabel's surgery, and after years of feeling like an afterthought, Christine finally said enough. Watching her pack up her things, say goodbye to the house she'd made a home, and drive away with her kids was one of the most emotional moments the show has ever given us. She told the cameras, "I just can't do marriage with Kody anymore." You could hear the relief in her voice, but also the heartbreak. She wasn't just leaving a husband, she was leaving behind a life she'd built from the ground up. Janelle's journey was quieter, but just as powerful. She'd always been the independent one, the wife who could handle anything on her own. But as Kody's demands grew and his presence faded, Janelle stopped waiting for him to step up. She focused on her kids, her work, and her own happiness. There's a scene where she tells Kody, "I'm not going to choose between you and my children." That line stuck with me. It was the moment Janelle drew her boundary, refusing to let anyone, husband or not, come between her and the people she loves most. She started making plans for her own future, talking about RV living, new business ideas, and what it means to truly stand on her own 2 feet. Mary's story is the hardest to watch. She was the first wife, the one who believed in the family's dream from the very beginning. But after the catfishing scandal and years of emotional distance from Kody, Mary found herself more alone than ever. The scenes of her sitting by herself, trying to find meaning in her business and friendships are gut-wrenching. He made it clear he didn't see a future with her, and Mary was left to decide if she could keep holding on to something that no longer existed. Her journey is about learning to let go, even when it hurts, and finding self-worth outside of someone else's approval. These stories aren't just about heartbreak. They're about courage. Christine, Janelle, and Mary each found their own way to break free from a cycle of control and disappointment. They showed that it's possible to start over, to set boundaries, and to choose yourself even when it feels impossible. I know so many of you have been through similar struggles, feeling stuck, unseen, or undervalued. Share your stories in the comments. This community is about more than just watching drama unfold. It's about learning from each other, supporting each other, and reminding ourselves that we all deserve respect, love, and a fresh start. It's impossible to talk about the Brown story without looking at the role TLC played in all of this. The cameras were always rolling, catching every argument, every tear, every awkward family meeting. Sure, the show gave the wives a platform and a paycheck, but it also turned their private pain into public entertainment. The pressure to keep the drama going, to share the most personal moments for ratings, only made the cracks in the family deeper. The kids grew up with their lives on display, their struggles and heartbreaks broadcast to millions. You can see the toll it's taken. Some of them have spoken out about wanting privacy, about feeling caught in the middle, about not wanting to repeat the same mistakes. It makes you wonder, at what point does reality TV cross the line from storytelling to exploitation? How much of the Browns' pain was made worse by the need to keep viewers hooked? These are real people, not just characters in a show. As fans, we owe it to them and to ourselves to watch with empathy, to remember that behind every headline and every episode are families trying to heal. Let's keep this community a place for honest conversation, support, and understanding. The Brown story is messy, painful, and sometimes hard to watch. But it's also a reminder of how strong people can be when they finally choose themselves. We've seen heartbreak, betrayal, and the courage it takes to start over. If you've ever felt unseen or stuck, know you're not alone. Thank you for joining me, Helena, here on TLC Sister Wives News. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. We're in this together, and I can't wait to dig into more real stories with you next time. Stay strong, friends.